What's up, everybody? Welcome to Human Innovation Tarot. My name is Eddie with Imagine Life Development Center. And in this video, I am going to do a sign for all of you water signs out there. So if you are a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, we're going to take a look and see what's coming up for you guys the rest of the month of April while we are in the retrogrades. I've made some changes on my channel. There should be some other videos that you can check out. There's a retrograde video that I highly recommend you go check out. It's an all signs reading. And there's some other non-tarot related readings. In terms, they're not an actual reading with the cards, but they are explaining just anything you might need to know about tarot and how to make it work for you. Because I personally believe that we should stop watching tarot obsessively if you're not getting a result in your life. Tarot, oracle cards, all these things are powerful tools, but I do believe that it can become a little bit of a stigma, almost. It can almost become disempowering, have kind of the opposite effect when we start to lean on it too much and we give our power away to it, right? The purpose of these cards, or this tool rather, is to empower us, is to help us know and learn what we need to do as creators to create the outcomes that we want in life. Because we are the magicians, we are the creators, we are the ones who are going to get whatever it is that we desire. So it's like 80-20. 80% of the responsibility and power is in our hands. 20% of the power is maybe outside of us or has something to do with the outside world, the spiritual laws, or some action we need to take, or maybe something that somebody else needs to do in response, depending on what your desire is, right? So I'm not going to get into all of that because I explain it in the other videos that I posted. So basically what we're going to take a look at is we're going to take a look at your past, present, and future, pull a couple cards on that. We'll see if love and romance comes out in that, then or whatever comes out in that, that's what we'll look at. And then obviously I'll take a look at your love life, and then I'll pull a couple cards on money and career as well. So it's kind of covering all bases here. And then of course we'll take a look and see what the advice is, which is the most important part, because while it's good to know what's coming up and to kind of be able to see like the forecast, or typically what most people watch tarot for, right? It's to kind of like foretell the future, right? To know what's coming up for you, right? But what's more important than that, again, is what we need to do to get the result. So with that being said, we're going to take a look at past, present, and future. I'm going to pull one card for each, and then I will clarify, and we'll just kind of see what's happening for you guys. All right. So for the past, I'll show you guys the cards. We have the pattern card. Now this is a custom deck that I had made for myself. And in this deck, the pattern card has to do with art, with any patterns. Patterns of behavior, patterns of belief, mindset, or just things that we do again and again in our lives, right? So this card being upside down is telling me in the past position here is that some of you guys are trying to change or break free from a pattern, or have, because again, this is past energy. Trying is the key word though, because the next card we have is stuck. I know it's kind of hard to see the words down here, but this was just a prototype deck. So if I decide to make, if I tried to make another one, I would change it to where it was more visible. But anyways, so in the present moment, you're feeling stuck about something. We're going to take a look and see what that is. And it has something to do with this past pattern or a cycle that you've probably been repeating, or you maybe just found it very hard to stop. Maybe you stopped for a minute and maybe you picked it up again. Or maybe you just feel like you're not being able to break free from it, which would be kind of like a hangman energy. Could be an 8 of Swords energy, could be even like the Devil card. Just a few examples that come to mind from tarot. Now, in the future, we have pause. So there's something in the future, the near future here, that will either be put on pause, or you're being encouraged to hit the pause button regarding whatever that thing is, okay? And we'll take a look and see what that is in a moment. And at the bottom of the deck, we have this miser energy, which is like a 4 of Pentacles type of energy. It's basically saying, if it's money, it would be like, it might be a good time for you to save your money and not spend so much. If it was regarding your career, it would say, hey, like, make sure that you're showing up to work on time, you're doing your job, you're keeping up with your job. You're not slacking, you're not dropping the ball, you're not letting your performance drop or anything like that. If it was in regards to your health, it was saying, hey, be kind of like, what's the word I want to use? Be consistent was the word. You want to be consistent with your health. You want to make sure that you're staying on top of the things, if you have a healthy routine, don't stop doing it. Don't go out, get crazy, get wild, or start overindulging or anything like that, right? So again, this could apply to anything in life. We're going to find out here in just a second what this might apply to specifically. So let's start here with the past. I'm going to pull 3 cards to see kind of what this pattern is that you maybe have been struggling with in your past. Now, this reading may or may not resonate with all of you because, again, it's covering all water signs, so if it doesn't resonate, it's okay. Go check out the other readings. All right, so something to do with, I feel, either a relationship, could have something to do with family, or a roommate, could have something to do with maybe even moving or living with somebody, or just maybe a commitment, like a relationship. Excuse me, because we got this 4 of Wands here. And then we have the 5 of Pentacles. And then we have the 3 of Cups. And at the bottom of the deck, we have a Queen of Wands. So what I'm getting, Queen of Wands at the bottom there. So what I'm getting from this is, and I keep it real here on my channel. I'm just going to shoot you guys straight. What I'm getting from this is that there is a pattern, the cycle or pattern behavior that a lot of you are not being able to get out of is kind of like you want to feel confident. You want to feel confident. You want to feel worthy. Male or female doesn't matter here. I do feel like this is more of a feminine energy, though. You want to feel confident. You want to feel empowered. You want to feel sexy. You want to feel desirable. However, this need for either significance, this need for attention, this need for validation, this need to feel like, you're desirable, that you're sexy, you're hot, or, you know, it could even maybe in more of a negative sense drift into the realm of jealousy, envy, things like that, depending on the types of relationships and people that you're around or what situations you're involved with. But there's something to do with all of that, right? And so there's a lot of there's a cycle here of almost kind of feeling like when you receive the attention or you get validated or someone, makes you feel sexy or you get a lot of attention, a lot of praise, maybe from the opposite sex, or you feel like you're being pursued a lot. It could be from any level, like any type of, it could be getting likes on social media. Maybe you post a picture of yourself and a lot of people come in and they start liking you, and that gives you a little bit of an ego boost, maybe you get hit up a lot, or you get asked out a lot, or you get hit on a lot, or you have a lot of people around you that they're interested in you. You may not be interested in them, but you just like to know and feel empowered, you're the shit. And so the problem is with this Four of Wands is, so you get this false sense of identity from being validated, receiving that significance. But the truth is, with this Five of Pentacles, you feel empty. You feel lost. It's never enough. No matter how much attention, validation that you get, you're never really fulfilled. It's it's all kind of superficial, right? And I know that the Queen of Wands in and of herself, or I should say in her power, is not necessarily a superficial energy, but when she's not, when you have somebody that's pretending to be a Queen of Wands in her power, would be a better way to say it, then you end up in this place of, I don't feel good enough, I don't feel worthy, and as a result of that, you feel lost, you're purpose depressed, you're not connected to who you really are. Maybe you're afraid to be yourself, maybe you're afraid to stand out, maybe you're afraid to own your power, or maybe you just have deep-seated fears and insecurities, and so you put on this persona or this mask, this false, presence of okay, well, what's the one thing that I can do to feel like, I am good enough, or I am significant, or that I am desirable. And so, but with this Five of Pentacles, it's indicating that all your attempts at doing this have really failed. Now, what other people outside of you see could be totally different. They may perceive you, depending on how good you are at wearing the mask, how good you are at pretending. They may think this person has it all together, they're desirable, they're sexy, they're attractive, they're funny, they're this, that, the other. And so you have to keep that mask on. You have to keep pretending and living kind of this lie where deep down inside, that you're empty. When it's just you and yourself in your bed at night, or even if you have somebody, sleeping next to you, and they're asleep and you're sitting there and you're trying to go to sleep and you just feel it. You feel that emptiness in your soul. You feel rejected. You feel abandoned. And if it's not by other people, it could even just be by yourself. It could be old wounds from a long time ago when you were a child. It does, whatever the situation is. But the point here with this pattern, and the Three of Cups is really just backing up what the Four of Wands is saying here, which is, how to go out, how to have fun, how to get the attention, how to party, how to put the mask on, how to present yourself like, hey, I'm happy-go-lucky, I'm fun, I can go out and I can throw down just as hard as anyone else, whether it's at work, whether it's at the club, whether it's, attracting people, whether it's in the bedroom, whatever it is. There's this sense that of almost like a competition in a way. It's like, because in order for you to stay in this false sense of power, you have to continue being in that false sense of power. And eventually that gets exhausting, because really deep down inside, all you really want to do is just be yourself. Okay. And so again, this is a pattern that you trying to break. Like, you know, like maybe you're getting older and you're like, man, I just don't want to live this way anymore. Like you start to recognize that this isn't really a fulfilling way to live. So let's take a look and see. So this was in the past, right? So, and this again is indicating that this is an ongoing struggle that hasn't been resolved yet. Now, for a small percentage of you, I just have to mention it, small percentage of you, this could have to do with somebody else that's attached to you. If it's not you that you feel describing, but you're like, no, this is somebody else that I know, then it could be a fire sign. It could be a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries that's attached to you in your life somehow. Friend, lover, boyfriend, girlfriend, family, whatever, right? So if it's not you, then everything that I just said could be associated with somebody else that you know. So just keep that in mind. So why is the stuck energy here in the present? Clarify the stuck energy in the present for my water signs, please. All right, let me get one more. So we got the Page of Wands. We have the Seven of Pentacles. Okay. And we have the Death card at the bottom of the deck. So the Page of Wands really kind of like encompasses everything I said back here. You know, it's like the Page of Wands is a very, very young, immature, childlike energy. You know, and there's a time in life where that's acceptable. You know, like when you're 5 years old, 10 years old, maybe even 13, you know, it's you can't expect a 13-year-old to act like, you know, a 40-year-old. Now, unfortunately, sometimes 40-year-olds never grow out of being a 13-year-old, right? They still have that they still have immature patterns that they never grow out of. And that could be for whatever reasons, right? That's a whole other psychological conversation to have. But in the present energy, whether it's you or this other person, now this is fire energy as well, which aligns to that Queen of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So again, if it's not you, I could be talking about somebody else. But whoever it is, you or somebody else, there is this immature, like young child that it's not growing up, basically, right? Like the adult is yet to be seen. We don't want to see a page in an adult reading, like in terms of when we're talking about somebody's maturity, their spiritual development, their personal development, right? Their personal growth. We want to see a king or a queen in that position. A page is super immature. Knights, a little more so. A knight is somebody who's on the path of growth. They're like, hey, they realized I need to make some changes. I need to grow up. I need to start changing things, taking action in my life to move forward. So it's like an intermediate level, right? You're not a novice anymore. You're not a child, but you're moving up. You're learning more, but you still got a ways to go. And then when you get to the king and the queen, then you've kind of reached that level of maturity. And so that's what's keeping you or this other person stuck that's attached to you. Now, the Seven of Pentacles is here. And interestingly enough, the energy that I'm getting off the Seven of Pentacles is a lot of you guys or this other person, whoever this is, the reason that you haven't put in the work is because you thought, well, I'm getting two energies actually. I'm getting two energies off this here. The reason you haven't done the work here is one, you thought you had time. It's like, I'll get to it later. You know, it's like this person out here with this out here in the field who should be working, or I should say, like, you know, when you're driving and there's the construction crew, the road work crew, and it's always interesting how 95% of the time when you drive through a construction zone and they're doing road work, what is everyone doing? If you even see anybody, right? Everyone's standing around. It doesn't look like anyone's working, right? And then it takes forever for that road work to get completed because everyone's standing around like this guy. It's like, you know, it's like I got this pentacle down here, you know, like I ought to be working, ought to be planting, ought to be digging holes, or ought to be, you know, pruning this tree, getting those pinnacles off, picking the pinnacles off the tree, or doing something here. But he's out here, and if you look at his face, you know, he looks bored. Looks like he's kind of thinking about other things. He's got a little scowl on his face. Like he's not really happy to be out there, right? But it's interesting is these pinnacles represent value, right? Each one of these things is a desire, right? Each one of these pinnacles is the tangible counterpart of a dream, a desire, a goal, an object, a relationship. It's something that you want. It's the manifestation, the raw, tangible manifestation of something you want. It's not the vision. It's not the fantasy. It's not the idea. It's none of that. It's something you can literally tangibly put your hands on, right? Like if it was a house, well, when you buy that house and you get that house being represented by one of these pinnacles, metaphorically speaking, then when you walk in that house, it's like, hey, I can live in this house. I can walk into it. I can put my hands on it. Like I'm here. It's mine. Or a car. You can sit in the car. You can feel it. You can drive it. It can take you somewhere. Or if it's a relationship, there's that person. You can see them. You can talk to them. You can hold their hand. You can hug them. You can laugh with them. You can make love to them. It's the tangible result, right? It's the tangible thing that you desire. Now, why do I say all that? Well, look at the disinterest here, right? So this dude's sitting there and it's like, here's all the dreams and goals. It's there. It's like you have the things here, or they're almost there, but you're like, there's time. I have time for that. I'll get to it later. It's not a big deal right now. It's not a priority right now. It's not, it's not worth my time right now. There's this apprehension. There's this, what do I want to say? Procrastination. Right? There's this energy of procrastination. Like, this doesn't have to be worth my time right now. Like I can come back to this later, but it's not true, because if you don't continue working here, if you don't get those pinnacles, somebody else will, right? If that was fruit, those were little berries or something, maybe somebody else comes around and picks the berries. If not, maybe the birds come and eat the berries. Maybe the other animals eat the berries, or maybe the berries just dry up and shrivel, because if you eventually that plant that's producing that fruit, if you don't pick it while it's ripe and ready to be picked, it's going to die, right? It's just the cycle of life. And so again, one of the reasons why you've been stuck here is because a lot of you guys have this attitude, or have had this attitude, or maybe this other person. And again, I'm just keeping it real that, I have time. I can do this later. I don't have to do this right now. I still can go out and have fun and do all these things. I don't have to grow up and be an adult. I've got time. I can go out and party more. I can, meet more people. I can keep living a life that really is no longer aligned with you. That's really what this is saying. That's the underlying message here, is that you're still trying to live a life, or maybe you're trying to go back and live a life that's no longer in alignment with you. You're being called to move forward, right? You're being called to go from these Seven of Pentacles to eventually to get to the Eight of Pentacles, right? But it's kind of like, nah, I'm just going to kind of stand out here, just killing time, wasting time, whatever, right? So that's for a lot of you. Now, if there's a second group of you, the second energy attached to this is some of you have this belief system that the juice isn't worth the squeeze. It's not worth the effort. It's not worth the investment. Kind of the traditional, one of the more traditional meanings to this card or this energy is, the value of something, the investment of something, putting in the effort long term so that the energy that you invest or that seed down here can grow into a bush that's got even more, right? That's the whole purpose of planting a seed, right? Like you can take one apple off an apple tree, or you can take a seed out of an apple, plant it in the ground, and grow your own apple tree, and now you have tons of apples, right? Which one is more valuable? One apple, and you have to buy it from the store every time you want one, or you can go grow your own tree, and you can get as many apples as you want off the tree, right? But for whatever reason, some of you guys have either a mindset or a belief or something attached to you psychologically, your value system, your belief system, religious, whatever it is. You guys don't believe that it's worth the effort to make a change, to add value to your life. And so in other words, you're neglecting your personal growth, your spiritual growth, your emotional growth. You're neglecting the parts of you that need to adapt and change to evolve into a better version of you, or the newer version of you, the version of you that you should be, or at least be moving toward to get you out of this stuck energy, right? And like this, I'll give you an example. Like there's a lot of people who resist going to therapy because they have stereotypes towards therapy. Like, oh, well, therapy doesn't work. Therapy is this, therapy is that. Like there's people who don't go to therapy because they think it's just bullshit. It's not worth their time. And it depends, right? Like some forms of therapy are not necessarily beneficial, but there's other forms of therapy that are. You just have to find somebody, the right therapist or the right coach or whoever that will get you a result an outcome or result that you're desiring. So that's what this energy here is about, right? And so let's take a look at we have the Death card. So the Death card was the third card. Get my cards over here, stay straight. Wait, I'm sorry, the Death card was at the bottom of the deck. We had the Ten of Cups. So this represents everything that I said with those pentacles, right? So what you desire, what you are wanting to grow, so to speak, what you're wanting to plant with that Seven of Pentacles, this is really what you were after. You want love. You want true, unconditional, amazing love. You want that you want to find love that fills up your heart, your soul. You want to find that person who loves you unconditionally, that loves you no matter what, right? You're looking for that dream person, that dream connection, that dream relationship. Some of you want a family. Some of you want children, right? This is what you're really desiring, but you're not being able to find it. Because again, two things in this reading, the reason you're not acquiring your desire here is because of immaturity and lack of personal development and, a refusal to break old patterns. And you're consciously aware of it because the patterns card being in reverse tells me that you guys know this about yourself. If you're really brutally honest with yourself, you guys know this. If you're brutally honest, now you may not admit this to other people. You may even argue with other people that that's not true. But if you were truly, 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 it was between you and God, no one else, if you're really honest with yourself, a lot of you know that this is true. You know that you have certain patterns of behavior that, just aren't serving you anymore, right? It's like, hey, I'm 45 years old. Like, why am I, like I'm trying to go out and live like an 18-year-old, like trying to live like I'm back in college or something, right? Like, a bachelor or the bachelor life or the bachelorette life or whatever that is. And it's like, that was so long ago. That was like over half your life ago, right? Like that time has come and gone. You're not going to get this, by living the page life, right? Like a 13-year-old kid can't afford to buy, most 13-year-old kids can't afford to buy a house. They're not old enough to get married, and they're surely not old enough to have children, right? So, this is this is for somebody who can handle it, right? A family, a future, a home. This is for somebody who's a responsible adult who can manage and have that kind of life. So, again, this represents the desire. Now, for another group of you, that's the first side, the first energy I have. The second side of this, for the rest of you, is some of you guys have been living in a fantasy, which is one of the kind of traditional meanings to this card. You've been living in a fantasy world, and that's kind of, I would say, accurate for, water energy, right? Because it's very emotional, feeling based. And so it's very easy to get into that ethereal, dreamy kind of fantastical, just that fantasy mode where you have this idea or ideal about what you think love should look like, or what the future should look like, or what you think your life should look like. And so you live in a way that you think is going to get you that based on the way you see other people living their lives around you. It's like, well, look at the celebrities and look at this person and look at that person over here and my friend over there and then this. And it's like most people in life are faking it. Most people are only showing the positive sides of themselves, right? Like social media. People don't post their shit on social media, like the real shit. They're not posting their ugly crying, their dirty, nasty fights. I mean, there's a lot of negativity on social media. Don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about when you're in, you're just that stuff that you would be really embarrassed if the world knew about. Certain things you said, certain habits that you have, certain things you do, secrets that you have, your secret life, your secret lovers, ways that maybe you cheat the system, ways that maybe you break the law, big or small, ways that you treat people, the thoughts that go through your mind. Like, we all are guilty of this, okay? I'm not slinging mud. We're all guilty of these things. Every one of us has a dark side. Every one of us has a shadow side. Every one of us has skeletons in the closet. We all have things that we would not want people to know about, secrets, right? And so there's a set of behaviors and patterns here that are tied to kind of this fantasy-like mentality that would be very embarrassing for the world to know about you. And again, this is between you and you, right? But this reading is also about you figuring out how to get what you want, which is this. So let's take a look now at the future. So just to kind of summarize that, the reason that you're stuck here is because you haven't gotten out of this pattern. You're still kind of in this pattern. And these are the reasons why you're in this pattern. Okay. So, you might need to, if you need to rewind to kind of take all of that in, obviously please do so. Now at the bottom of the deck, we have the Death card. Now this does represent Scorpio energy. So obviously this is Scorpio is a water sign. So, you may be a Scorpio watching this, obviously, because it's a water sign reading. But what this is really saying is this is what's needed, transformation. Death has to do with things that no longer serve you being ending, right? Things that are no longer serving, whether it's patterns, behaviors, people, relationships, jobs, whatever it is. The death card comes in to end cycles, to end patterns, to end anything in our life that's no longer serving us, right? Which is why a lot of tarot decks, this is called the death rebirth card, because it's implying that the things that need to die and need to end in order for you to thrive and level up, once those things are removed, you are reborn, and now the new things can come into your life, whether it's new relationship, a new you, new habits, new love, new money, blah, 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 right? And then after the death card, you're handed off to temperance, I believe. I don't have the temperance card in front of me. Yeah, temperance. I have a chart. And I forgot. So, and temperance is about finding peace. It's finding balance and harmony. It's getting reconnected to the divine, right? It's about moderation, having your life in order, not living in, chaos and crazy devil energy and toxic shit. It's about purity. It's about clarity, right? And it's about having the patience and the fortitude to move towards those things that the divine has aligned for you. Because on the temperance card, there's an angel mixing two cups, and there's an energy that's flowing between those two cups. And so that signifies that the divine is working with you to help you on your path. And the angel is standing on the front of the card, and behind the angel, there's this path that's going out to the mountains, which represents your journey, your path in life, your spiritual journey. So again, the death card is just solidifying everything that I say here, that in order for you to get unstuck, things are going to have to end so new things can begin. Now, future. Let's take a look at your future. Why is the pause energy here? Now, the pause energy, I intuitively feel, is tied to temperance. So I would not be surprised if the temperance card came out. Because, in other words, that pause card could be indicating patience. We'll see if I'm right. And not patience in terms of like just sitting around waiting, doing nothing. That's not, we get confused about that sometimes. We think that patience means, oh my gosh, I got to be patient. I just got to sit and wait and wait and wait. Like, and it sounds like that it's one of those words that even I myself, I hate it. It's like, oh, patience. I hate hearing that word. I'm an impatient person by default. But if you have things to do, which technically we always have something we could be doing, then patience is just telling us to focus on the things that we should be doing while the greater scheme of things is unfolding behind the scenes, right? All right. So what needs to be on pause right now? Okay. We have the Three of Pentacles, or what is this energy pertaining to? Going to the Four of Pentacles, going to the Page of Cups. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Moon card, Cancer energy, Pisces energy. And I'm just taking a peek underneath it, and we have the Devil there, which is Capricorn energy, but it's, it's relevant that the Devil card is underneath the Moon, because the Moon hides things. What's hidden? That toxic devil energy stuff that needs to be dealt with, right? So what this pause energy is basically telling you to do is to pause. You need to pause to evaluate your life, to get honest. And this is future energy. And we're in retrograde, and that's what retrograde is all about. Mercury retrograde is about it's a moment of evaluation, right? So we're going through, as we go throughout the year, I think we have two Mercury, maybe 3 Mercury retrogrades a year, something like that, 2 or 3. And so we're supposed to make progress, right? This is us working the 3 of Pentacles, and then we have a retrograde. And the retrograde is, okay, take a pause, sit down, and evaluate what you've done. And then once retrograde is over, we go back to work. And then retrograde comes back around, and we pause, and we evaluate what we've done. How am I doing, right? It's just like when you're at work and you get a review, a performance review, or you do an inspection, right? Like if you're painting something, you're baking a cake, you're building something, whatever you're doing, at some point, you're going to stop and check it out. If somebody makes something for you, you go to the store, and you tell them you need them to make you, either food, or you ordered a cake for your kid's birthday, or, you asked somebody, you ordered, I don't know, you order to have somebody build something for you or make something for you, paint something for you. Well, when you go to pick it up, or even if you go to like a drive-through, they give you your order. And if you're smart, you probably should check to make sure they get the order right? So you look in the bag, you check, make sure you got what you ordered before you leave, so that when you get home, you don't realize that you got the wrong order or they didn't do it right. And then you got to go all the way back, or you got to call somebody, or you got to suck it up and just eat something you don't want, right? That's kind of what Mercury retrograde is about. It's about the past. It's about reflecting and those types of things. So we work, we get into retrograde, and then we evaluate what we've done. And if what we've done, we see that we've made progress because we've gone from the 3 to the 4, then we start working again so that we can go and continue to make that type of progress. So the pauses, that's what the pause here is saying. It's saying you need to do the work. Now this is on yourself, because the 3 of Pentacles traditionally also talks about getting counseling, mentorship, getting help, things like that, collaborating, working together with somebody. And that's what this is saying, is that some of you might need to, again, look into working with somebody to help you get unstuck from these patterns, a coach, a therapist, a counselor, a friend, someone you trust, a course, whatever, a book, anything that's going to help you get unstuck with these old patterns. So that's the 3 of Pentacles. And then the 4 of Pentacles, and we had that miser energy here. So this here is the same type of energy as this card here from the bottom of this deck. It's, again, this picture of a vault, says miser at the bottom, which is saying, again, it's time to start working on yourself and not being so wild. In other words, it's like, hey, because number 4 is about discipline. It's about security, certainty. It's about conservatism, basically, right? Conserving your energy, doing things right, structure, discipline, and follow through. And so the energy that's tied to this is like, right now, you need to rein it in. You need to pull your energy in. You need to be practical. You need to be logical. You need to be rational during this time, right? Like, it's time for you to focus on you, because that's what this person's doing. This person here is focusing on them. Where are their feet? Their feet are down here. Their feet are planted. Again, remember, pentacles represent the tangible, the metaphorical, tangible representation of your dreams, your goals, desires, whatever it is that you want out of life. The pentacle is the tangible manifestation of that thing. Your feet are planted on the ground. They're planted on what? Your feet are touching your dreams, your goals, your desires, your tangible things. What are you holding in your hand? Close to your heart, the things that are valuable to you, right? The things that are near and dear to your heart that you desire. it's time to focus on those things, but focus on them in a way, focus on the things you need to do to be able to acquire them in a healthy way and not in this destructive way, which we're going to get to at the bottom of the deck in a second. And then up here, where the crown chakra is, there's another pentacle, right? So this is essentially saying that there's always going to be the next thing. There's always, like, once you get these two pentacles under your feet, so to speak, then there's always going to be another pinnacle, right? Because once you buy the house, once you get the dream husband, the dream wife, once you're living the dream life, once you get the dream car, once your bank account has X amount of dollars, it's never ending. We don't just go, okay, well, now I got this, now I got that, now we're good, right? That's just not how we are as humans. You buy clothes that you're excited to buy and wear, and when you wear them, or after you wear them for a time, what happens? They get old. You want to go out, shop for something new. You want new clothes. You don't keep the same decorations in your house on the same place forever. You don't keep the same bedspread forever. You don't keep the same car forever. You don't live in the same house forever. Everything in life changes. That's what this is talking about. There's always going to be something else that comes to you at some point. A new dream, new goal, new desire. And so what this is talking about is you need to learn the right way, the healthy way, to tap into the energy you have as a creator to be able to acquire those things throughout your life that are in alignment with your true spiritual journey. That's what this is saying, which goes back to that whole temperance analogy that I gave you a second ago, because that is the number one most aligned and healthy way that you will ever get anything out of your life, period, is when you are on your spiritual journey, following your life path. So it would be like your life path number in numerology. It'd be your north node in astrology. When you're going in that direction towards that thing, you're on the fool's journey, right? That's the 22 major arcana in tarot. Those 22 cards, starting from the Fool, ending at the World, and all the cards in between, that journey is your spiritual journey. It's the journey of your soul. Your soul came incarnated, and you're on that journey right now. And so point A is incarnation. Point B is getting to completion, which is your north node or your life path, or whatever. You can use any system, any other spiritual system that you're aware of, right? And so you need to know what that is, though. Do you know what your north node is? If you don't, you need to know what your north node is. You need to be intimately aware of what it means and how are you getting there? How are you moving in that direction? Do you know what your life path in numerology is? Super easy to get that information. Do you know what the hurdles, obstacles, and challenges are of having that life path? Do you know that you're on that journey and where you are on that journey? Have you taken stock, or have you evaluated where you are? Or are you just getting on YouTube and watching tarot videos and crossing your fingers and going, oh man, that video sounds like that's what I want. That's the outcome I want. The tarot reader said there's a new love coming into my life. The tarot reader said that I'm about to have a bunch of money. I'm about to get a new job. I'm about to have this. I'm about to have that. And then it doesn't happen. And so now you're back hoping and waiting and listening to the next reading, and then the next reading, and then the next reading, and then the next reading. Nothing's changing. Nothing in life is changing. I'm just listening to more and more tarot readings, getting my hopes up, living in suspense. When is it going to happen? When's it going to happen? Now that the moon and the sun and the Saturns and the Jupiters and the Mercuries and all the retrogrades, the transits and all the things are aligned in this way. And then there was an eclipse, and then there was this with that, and it was coupled with this and coupled with that, and blah, 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 blah. So now there's a new portal, and the next portal's coming up, and then this Lionsgate thing, and then there's portal and that thing. And it's always like all these things. And it's all this building of suspense. But really, deep down, the only reason that you're here watching this shit is because you want something. But again, if you're not doing the 80-20, you're not doing 80%, you're not doing the stuff, you're never going to get it. I don't care how many tarot readings you watch, because you came in here. Your life is your responsibility. And tarot is here to tell you what you need to do to acquire these pinnacles, these dreams, these goals, these outcomes, the tangible things that you want to be able to have in your life that you desire, the things, your fulfillment, right? The 10 of Cups here, the dream, the fantasy. Not all fantasies are bad. It's only bad if, you're living in a fantasy, doing nothing to acquire it. Having a fantasy is great. It's just like having a vision. You can see it and you're moving towards it. That's good. If all you're doing is just dreaming and you're doing nothing to acquire it, that's bad, right? And so here, the last one here, we have the Page of Cups here, which represents a few different things. It represents you guys as water signs, obviously. The Page of Cups energy is water energy. What Spirit is saying is you have to start small, and you have to stop avoiding emotions. You have to stop avoiding, you have to get real with yourself. Because we had that Queen of Wands all the way back here at the beginning, and I talked all about how the Queen of Wands, at least in this, again, for those of you that aren't dealing with somebody else that's a fire sign, blah, 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 assuming that Queen of Wands energy is you, and you're being honest with yourself, and you can actually admit, yeah, I'm kind of superficial. Yeah, I like a lot of attention. Yeah, I don't feel good enough. Yeah, I have insecurities. Yeah, I get jealous easy. Yeah, this, yeah, that. If you can be honest with yourself, then you can set yourself free because you're telling yourself the truth, and the truth sets you free. And the reason that we had a Queen of Wands at the bottom of the deck instead of a Queen of Cups is because you're not aligned with your natural energy. You're trying to be something that you're not. You're trying to be this Queen of Wands. You're instead of being a Queen of Cups. The Page of Cups here is saying, hey, we need to give birth to something new, which is there's this little fish jumping out this page, but the page, this page isn't looking. Here's the fish hopping up out of the cup. The cup represents emotions. Here's the fish, right? Pisces energy, the two fish. The fish is popping out of the cup and is looking at this kid, this dude, but he's not looking at the fish. He's oblivious. He's holding the cup, and the fish is almost kind of like, hey man, do you know why you even have that cup in your hand? Are you paying attention? Bueller. Are you paying attention? And so what do I mean by all that? Well, what I mean by that is that fish jumping out of the cup is to remind you of who you are. You're a water sign. Where do fish live? In the water. The fish is jumping out of the cup to remind you who you are. You need to be reminded that emotions is the path that you chose. Now, I know astrologically speaking, emotions or how emotions are translated or considered across each sign is different. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, you're all water signs, but you relate to emotions differently. But you still are a water sign. And that's what this is saying. It's like you need to stop doing this. You need to stop fearing what you are. Now we have the moon at the bottom of the deck, right? And the moon is all about fear, illusion, suppression of emotion, the subconscious. But essentially, it's a card based on fear and illusions. Things that are hidden, things that we don't want people to know about, things that we don't even know about ourselves, darkness, confusion. And what is it that we fear? Well, underneath that, we have the devil. And what are those two people, right? They're chained. They're stuck. And that's what's happening here. We have the patterns that haven't changed. And we have the mousetrap, and the mouse is stuck in the mousetrap. And the devil represents anything that controls us. A vice, temptation, addiction, fears, anything, obsessions, anything that controls us, anything that we feel powerless to, anything that we feel we can't overcome is devil energy. But the devil, in and of itself, really is just the moon energy that grew and grew and grew so big until it became illusion. It's almost like when you shine a light on the wall, right? And you make the little hand animals. You make your hands look like an animal, like, oh, look, it's a bird, right? And it casts the shadow from your hand on the wall, but if you position your hands away or however far or however close to the light, what does it do? It makes the shadow on the wall big or small. Well, the shadow that's being cast from your fear, when you let it get out of control, gets so big that it looks like Godzilla. So, but it's still an illusion, because all fear is an illusion. Fear, false evidence appearing real. So that monster isn't real, but you think it's real because you've been making that shadow bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because you've been staying in this moon energy for so long, because you haven't been telling yourself the truth about living a fake life and living apart from your identity. And I don't say that to be nasty. I'm just keeping it real. And again, we all do this at some point in our life. We're all inauthentic to ourselves at some point in our life. Everyone. Doesn't matter what your sign is. But we allowed that shadow, we allowed the monster to become so big, right? It's like really this tiny little crawfish, but when you cast the light on that crawfish, it would present a shadow of this huge, monstrous, Godzilla-sized lobster thing, right? But really, if you followed the shadow, you'd be like, oh man, that was just a tiny little crawfish. There's nothing to fear here. And so that's really what this is telling you. It's telling you that you're afraid to look at what's keeping you stuck, because you think that what's keeping you stuck is a huge, big old bad monster that will destroy you. And that's why you haven't been making changes. That's why you've been procrastinating and putting it off. Why you've been telling yourself that therapy, coaching, counseling won't work. You come up with all the excuses because at the end of the day, you're afraid to look at to look at what's keeping you stuck. So, in essence, I mean, that's really, the advice. It's what's going on in your life, and it's actually the advice. So I really don't even have to pull separate advice here for you. But what I want to do, because I did it for the other signs, I'm going to pull 3 cards just for your career, money, and finances, because that didn't really come out here, and I said I would. But I'm going to use this deck really quick, and I'm just going to give me just some final advice, please, for my viewers. Just 3 cards, a quick closeout explanation here. What do they need to really focus on immediately? What's the most important thing that would change their trajectory? What's their starting point? The most important thing. Like, okay, I get it, Eddie. I hear what you're saying. Just shoot me straight. Like, what do I need to do now? Where do I start? You can't make this shit up. The 3 of Pentacles came out again. The Page of Cups came out again. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you guys something. I'm holding the deck on the split. So in other words, when that last card flew out, I stopped shuffling. These were the cards in this hand, and was the rest of the deck in this hand. The reason is because sometimes when you look at the cards, where on the split, where the deck splits, when you're done getting however many cards, like this is the bottom of the deck, but this card is at the bottom of what was in this hand, and they're both relevant. It's just a little extra tarot tip for those of you who pull cards, but they're both of these cards are relevant. So Spirit is just repeating itself. We got the 3 of Pentacles. So what do you need to do? You need to start working on yourself, and you need to probably recruit somebody's help. Plain and simple. It's the Three of Pentacles. It's not just you by yourself. You need to help. You need to find somebody to help you on this journey. You need a mentor. You need a coach. You need somebody who can assist you in breaking this pattern because you've been unable to do it yourself. Straight up. Page of Cups. You need to start to learn who you are and be authentic to who you are as a water sign. Now, this is a page, meaning you've lived your whole life in at least a mildly inauthentic way, or you've not completely stepped into your power. And many of you are, because you're about to just start your personal growth journey for the first time, many of you are newbies, you're beginners. It's like, I know I'm a water sign, but you haven't been living your destiny, your purpose, your life, your identity as the true water sign that you are. So you're starting out here at page level, right? We all start at the beginning, no matter what it is. So this is saying, hey, you need to start getting in touch and in tune with your emotions. And yeah, you're at the beginning phase here. You're at the page level because for some of you, that is your main problem. Even though you're a water sign, feelings and emotions scare the shit out of you. You don't like them. You don't like having feelings. You don't like having emotions. You don't like feeling emotionally attached. Some of you might be avoidant attachment styles. Some of you might be anxious attachment styles. It doesn't matter. But emotions are a struggle for you, one shape or form or the other. They either dominate your life or you just tried to pretend that they don't even exist. So the Page of Cups here is really here serving as an archetype saying you need to start working on your emotions so that you can embrace them, so you can level up to eventually become the King or the Queen of Cups and stop trying to pretend like you're a Queen of Wands, because you're not. Knight of Pentacles. It's going to take time. It's going to take time, effort, dedication, and hard work. So the Seven of Pentacles guy that we talked about earlier, who's out there, he's like the dude on the side of the road. He's not really doing anything. We need to get him back to work. This is the Seven of Pentacles guy on the job now. He's like, all right, that pentacle down here, it's down here by his foot. It's on the ground. Well, now he's holding it. He's like, all right, time to get back to work. I figured out what I want. I figured out that it's worth the effort. I figured out it's worth the investment. He's got himself a horse. He's suited up and ready to go. And now he's ready to set off to go put his pentacle to work. Remember, he's like, I'm ready to receive the tangible manifestation of my desires. That's him holding the pentacle. He's ready to receive it. He's got his battle armor on. He's riding he's on his horse. Like, he's ready to go. He's not sitting around out there staring off. Well, this sucks. Like, killing time, wasting time, procrastinating, disinterested in life, doesn't know what they want. This is somebody who knows what they want and they're ready to go get it. But it's also indicating timing, which is, again, saying that you're going to have to be patient in the process. Hence the pause card. Remember when I said earlier in the reading that this pause card can almost be considered patience? This patience energy here with the Knight of Pentacles is saying that you can't be in a rush with this personal development journey, your spiritual growth, your emotional, whatever this Three of Pentacles is, working with somebody, working with a therapist, a mentor, counselor, blah, blah, blah. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. So don't think that it's going to happen overnight. So don't get impatient before you start doing the work. And don't not do the work because you're going to have to be patient. See what I'm saying? Now, let's go over here to the deck where I had the split. Now, you've been carrying a lot of shit for a long time. 10 of Wands, right? You guys have to work through all of these wands that you've been carrying to lighten your load. That's what this is going to do. This thing is going to help you get rid of the baggage. Now, some of you feel like this is going to be an uphill battle. I don't want to do it. It's too much. It's too hard. Some of you already have kind of a lazy attitude towards this. Like oh, it's going to take so long. It's going to be so hard. I won't have the money. This is you with all the excuses. Every one of these wands is an excuse. That's weighing you down about why. It's the resistance that you're going to feel when you listen to this reading and you go, oh, I don't want to do the work. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I've got all these other things. I would rather watch Netflix. I'd rather do this. I'd rather go out party. Like you're all these excuses about why. And you need to know that. You need to be ready for the resistance, because until you're in there doing the work, you're not going to experience this, which is what was at the bottom of the deck, which is the happiest card in the deck, by the way. The sun. And what does the sun do to that moon card that was at the bottom of the deck? The sun casts light, and there's no shadows when there's light, right? Like if there's a shadow on the wall and I shine a light on that shadow, the shadow disappears. Right? That's what I mean by there's no shadows in light. You shine a light on a shadow, the shadow will disappear, which is, again, metaphorical of your fears disintegrating. The sun destroys your fears, happiness. You're going to be happy as a child at Christmas. He's riding your unicorn pony. It's bright, it's sunny, it's happy. Joy. This is you in your fulfillment. Again, the sun card is the happiest card in the deck. And look what it looks like. It looks like a big pinnacle, right? If we take that pinnacle and we took the star off that pinnacle and we put a face on it and put some little beams around it, little sun rays around it, what do you have? You have the sun. So if you want to be happy, you're tired of all this going around, doing the same thing, getting the same results, waiting for life to change, waiting for ABC, XYZ, sick and tired of the same old, sick and tired of stress, anxiety, toxic people, toxic relationships, feeling fake, feeling like an imposter, not feeling good enough, all the things. This is your moment. It's your moment to start now. Don't wait and put it off, but don't keep holding those 10 of wands, because the longer you hold on to those, then the less action you're likely going to take, and you're just going to stay stuck even longer. You need to take massive action now, preferably before the month's over. So what I would suggest, based on what I've seen here, I would suggest that you, before the month is up, you find somebody, whatever that looks like for you, to start working with. Go ahead, book it, schedule it, because if it's not scheduled, if it's not something that you've committed to it, you're invested in it, then you're probably not going to do it. And that's anyone, okay? All right, so I'm just going to pull really quick. I'm going to pull really quick here. Just 3 cards for money and finances. Because for those of you that just kind of wanting to know what that might look like in addition to the other things. I don't really do a whole lot of career, money, or financial readings on my channel, but I have this huge deck of cards. I might as well use it. And yeah, it's kind of nice to see what that looks like every once in a while. One more, please. Okay, give me 2 more. All right, so now what your financial life looks like could be totally different than other parts of your life. So, or it could tie in. It really just depends. So I'm just going to read the cards. So we're going to start off with this card. It says Harmony. It's important for you to have a quiet, peaceful work atmosphere in order for you to thrive. Working at home or for yourself is best. So for those of you, take that as it resonates or applies to you. The next one is unfolding. Access to greater prosperity is opening up for you slowly, Knight of Pentacles. You are growing as you learn. You are growing as you learn more and keep expanding. Yeah, which is that Three of Pentacles energy. Learning can lead to growing. Growing will lead to expanding. And when you change one part of your life, the rest of your life changes. So like, right, if you're in a boat and the tide comes in and goes up, right? The tide doesn't just lift your boat, it lifts all boats. And all those boats represent the areas of your life. So when you raise your level, you raise your vibration, you level up, then everything in your life levels up, right? Not just this part that we've talked about, other parts. Okay, long term, an opportunity could turn into a long-term career move, or you will be asked to commit to a position in exchange for more money. So yeah, you have a long-term opportunity for prosperity. Some of you do. That could be coming towards you. Probably after retrograde though. Manifesting. You have the power to manifest what you want by writing your intentions down and by taking inspired action to make it happen. Which also coincides with everything else that we've talked about in a reading. So my Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, I appreciate all of you guys. I know this was a lot. Again, I'm experimenting with some new ways of doing readings. I've been away for a while, been on hiatus for quite a few months, and I explain why on the other videos that'll be on my channel. They're not readings per se, but it's just me explaining kind of how my channel is going to work moving forward, and continue to do this. The way that I was doing it before just I wasn't being true to myself. And so the way that I do it now will be probably a little more like this or something like it. And so I'm kind of still figuring out what that's going to look like. But regardless, if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys would like, subscribe, share. Absolutely feel free to leave a comment. I will try to respond when I can. Everything else you guys need to know is in the description box. You can find my services there. Anything from a personal private reading to my coaching services. All of that information will be there. So I am going to end the reading here. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon. And as always, my friends, love and light.